Welcome, everybody. This is Marco Dorn speaking from the product management team of the Keema Runtime. And what I would like to do in the next 25 minutes is give you a high-level overview and an introduction into the Keema Runtime, as this is a new environment next to the Cloud Foundry environment as part of Cloud Platform. So I would like to bring it into perspective and as well show you what it is all about and what you can do with it. You can see already on the title slide, I strike through the term extension factory. So this was like a previous term that we used as part of the Keema story and as part of the Cloud Platform extensibility story. This term has been dropped as of September 10th. I know it has been on the SAP Inside Track Barcelona page at the beginning, as this was before the change of name, but now you can just think or remember SAP Cloud Platform Keema Runtime. I'll talk about some pieces which are still in the planning, so that's why I need to include the disclaimer. If I talk about something or highlight something on the slide which is still planned, just don't place any buying decisions on that, the usual. So you probably know this picture already from Cloud Platform. So the two major blocks of Cloud Platform, on the one hand, the integration suite with Cloud Platform integration and all the other different tools there. And the other part is about the extensibility story that Cloud Platform enables. And that is exactly where the Keema Runtime is part of. So we are overall part of the extension suite story. We are one of the 4 runtimes where you can deploy and run your application or your extension. And that's why it didn't make any sense anymore to keep the term of extension factory when there is the extension suite, which is promoted next to the integration suite. So I will dive into this piece of the extension suite. So one of the runtimes, the Keema Runtime. If you look at the extension suite or Cloud Platform with the eyes of a developer, then you have starting from the top a lot of graphical tools which will make it easy, for example, to build extensions to change workflows of SAP applications. So those are mostly graphical tools, really UI driven. Then you've got the next layer, which are rather high-level coding tools, where we would count as well, for example, the cloud application programming model as part of it, the UI5 as UI technology, and so on. And you just heard Gregor talking about CAP in much more detail. And then there's the bottom layer, which is like the kind of the full control layer. We have the high flexibility, but with that, of course, as well, high responsibility, and you rather higher level or higher need of upskilling your development teams, for example. But that's exactly where the Keema Runtime is part of, where you can see the Keema Runtime, because what we provide is a Kubernetes-based runtime as part of Cloud Platform, where it's easy to deploy your microservices in a Docker container, where you can combine them with serverless functions. You can provide APIs to those, and so on and so forth. And we want to make it only very little opinionated compared to a native Kubernetes environment. But therefore, of course, you need more detailed knowledge about the technologies. The learning curve might be a bit steeper at the beginning, and then afterwards you still get the full flexibility while still being included or integrated and harmonized within the overall SAP Cloud Platform domain model, and so on and so forth. If you look at what's available today, so as of October 2020 with the Keema Runtime, then you will find that you can extend already in a very easy fashion a set of SAP applications. For those of you who know our, so to say, our history, so we come from the SAP Customer Experience line of business, and we are now part of SAP Cloud Platform. But therefore, of course, the initial set of applications that you can extend out of the box are really coming from the SAP CX line of business or the product portfolio. So with a few clicks only, you can connect, for example, SAP Commerce Cloud. You can connect the Cloud for Customer and the Field Service Management to the Cloud Platform, and then create a formation, as you will see later on with the Keema runtime. And then on top of that, you can connect to SAP S/4HANA Cloud and Marketing Cloud, both to talk to the APIs and as well to react to events coming from those applications. And all of this is possible with very few clicks, and then you have a secured and managed connectivity available to the Keema runtime. So you can easily discover which APIs the particular tenant that you connected is making available. You can react to events either with a microservice or with a serverless function. And then, of course, you can talk to other APIs, for example, or as well to hyperscaler services from the 3 major hyperscalers. At this point in time, the Keema runtime is only provisioned on Microsoft Azure as an infrastructure provider. We're looking at expanding those, so we have it on our roadmap for the next couple of months to expand the outreach to provide as well, for example, Amazon Web Services, and then afterwards as well Google Cloud Platform as infrastructure providers. But right now we are only available on Azure. What you see as well at the bottom left, and what you will see as well in the demo, is that we provide a framework to mock certain applications. So you see them here at the bottom left. And what this means is that within the Keema runtime, it looks as if you have for example, a Commerce Cloud connected. In reality, it's just a simple framework which can trigger an event. You can react to the event. You can talk to an API provided by those mocks. Of course, you will only get the standard reply from those APIs, but you can already explore Keema. You can explore how it behaves in combination with SAP applications without even having any application connected, maybe because you didn't have it in place, as you just want to explore it via the trial offering, or maybe because you want to get started with the first demo case just by using a mock and before even thinking about connecting it to an application. So the target group that we want to reach, or where we want to make it simple to extend or to build applications in Cloud Platform, is the cloud native developer. Cloud native because Keema itself is making use of a lot of open source frameworks or tools from the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. So we looked at, okay, if we want to build something on Kubernetes and if we want to make it easy to deploy microservices, to make them talk to each other and so on, based on Kubernetes as the container orchestration engine, what components do developers typically need? So we look at what's available as open source project, and we mesh this all together. Plus, we built something for application connectivity, which we now use as well as part of Cloud Platform, and we provided this back to the community as open source project. So if you look for keema-project.io, you can see the webpage of the Keema open source project. And this is where the whole runtime, the managed service within Cloud Platform is based on. And furthermore, why cloud native? Because we, as I already said, we want to make it easy to make use of containerized microservices, of combining those, of scaling, easily providing means to scale them up and down, depending on the need, depending on the load, and therefore provide a high degree of flexibility. All of this is coming together then now, since May of this year in the Cloud Platform. So we take our open source project Keema, we build the managed runtime out of it, the Keema runtime, and we provide this now as covered by enterprise support, and all of this as part of Cloud Platform. So this is really again, very, so to say, little opinionated Kubernetes, but with components where we think they anyway make sense and they are needed when you want to build something on Kubernetes, and we bring it into the picture of Cloud Platform to make sure it's easy to make use of all the advantages of Kubernetes and containerization in Cloud Platform. So by building something within the Keema runtime, or by deploying something inside the Keema runtime, you really get a high degree of flexibility, because we don't suggest or we don't prescribe any programming language. So you can use any language as long as you can containerize it. You can then deploy it inside the Keema runtime, as this then runs natively on Kubernetes. And of course, overall, by the side-by-side extensibility, I mean, this is not relevant, or this is not dependent on Keema, but you get a high degree of independence from the core application you're extending. Like, we've got customers that use a Keema runtime in combination with SAP Commerce Cloud, for example, and they tell us, I mean, it's great because you can release, like, they release twice a week into production, and within a very short time frame, their online shop, like, the functionality is updated because they don't have to wait for the release train of, for example, their Commerce Cloud system. So they can keep the core lean, so very close to the standard, so that it becomes easier to be updated. But then as well, stable in the sense that any extension which might put the core at risk, or where they want to try out something new, they just do it independently of the core application, and can try out easier new things. And the feedback is as well that you gain a lot of efficiency, and therefore as well speed to make functionality ready and available in production, or by trying out new functionality, new services as well from third parties, without even making it available to customers, to end customers, but really just trying it out, maybe in an A/B test or something like that. And again, now, or since May of this year, we've got this all in the cloud platform, so covered by the SLAs and enterprise support from SAP. And furthermore, you can consume services not only from the SAP Cloud Platform, but as well from the hyperscalers. So we've got so-called service brokers as part of the service catalog in Keema that you can instantiate, so that you can then talk to your through your account to one of those hyperscalers to the services they offer through the service broker. So let me just summarize on what's inside a Keema runtime before I then actually show it to you in the live system. First of all, if you think about it, if you want to build microservice-based extensions or applications, you need the microservices to talk to each other. So therefore, there's a service mesh inside the Keema runtime. So we base this on Istio, so this comes as part of the managed service. Then if you want to enrich those extensions as well with serverless functions, or maybe you have a few cases where you need microservices, and then some smaller cases where you just need a serverless function, there's a serverless engine built inside Keema. So this is built in Node.js, this is where you can build functions in Node.js, and then this is really for the lightweight cases where you can easily and quickly realize something. So, for example, one customer told us that they planned an extension within Cloud for Customer, and they planned with like 3 weeks development time. And after then getting up to speed with Keema and so on, in the end, it took them 1 day to build this extension inside Keema, just because they got independent of the core technology, and it was independent of the core application. So it became much, much faster, and they just used the serverless function for that particular case. Of course, to react to events of those applications that you connect, you need an event hub. So as soon as you pair, for example, a Cloud for Customer with the Keema runtime, the events that C4C is providing, or that you configure that C4C should emit, they become available inside the Keema runtime, and you can listen to those, and you can trigger microservices and serverless functions. And then if you want to make functionality available to the outside world, you of course need an API gateway. So this is not an API management. I mean, therefore, we've got the API management as part of Cloud Platform, but this is really just an API gateway to expose services, to secure them, but that's all of it. And last but not least, there's a service catalog where you can see which services you can instantiate, which applications are connected, as they are represented as a service as well inside the catalog, and then you can bind them to your extension or to your application. And all of this as well is what we say makes the Keema runtime unique compared to a pure Kubernetes offering, which you can get from the hyperscalers. These are really the components where we think it's what the development teams need to really get started easily and quickly with building some microservice-based extensions. And then, of course, what we can provide as well as part of Cloud Platform is the connectivity to those applications, while still being open and being an open source project. So if you look at Keema project.io, or if you even create a pull request for the open source project, once it gets into a release of Keema open source, kind of like a few days later, this will be as well reflected in the managed Keema runtime of the Cloud Platform. But let me rather show this to you instead of just using PowerPoint. So I guess you can now see my browser. Not anymore. Here we go. Okay, so this is just as an entry point, the entry and discovery center. So you can define the description. We have a related mission, the getting started mission. So you can learn about the different components on your in a self-paced learning way. And what I want to highlight before going into the demo is this came out this morning actually, how you can make use of CAP and how to deploy CAP business application in the Keema runtime. So a colleague from the CAP team actually provided a description. So have a look into the community, with a dedicated tag for the Keema runtime, and you can see how you can make use of CAP in combination with Keema. All right, so how does it look like when you want to create a Keema runtime? In your global account, you need a sub-account in Azure. At this point, as I said, we are available only in Azure. And if you then go into the sub-account, you will see a button next to Enable Cloud Foundry. You will see Enable Keema. And this then deploys the Keema runtime into the region you specify here. So this will really create, with the open source project Gardener, a Kubernetes installation, and on top of it, it will create the Keema runtime. I will switch to a different global account or rather to a different sub-account actually, where I prepared already the demo, because creating the Keema runtime and deploying it will take some time. So let me switch actually to a Keema runtime. So this is on one of our demo clusters. So what you can see here is, if you're familiar to Kubernetes, this is nothing new to you. You can see different namespaces, which are kind of the separation between different projects, for example, different components. And you can see in the Applications tab, different applications which are connected here to the to this Keema runtime. And then afterwards, you bind such an application to the development namespace or to any namespace that you need. And I'll go into the dev namespace now. So if I start from the top, you can see here the service catalog, which, for example, shows that I've bound an application, and which shows as well, for example, the Cloud Platform services which are available. And if I go then here onto the application which is connected and which is bound to this namespace, you can see different API plans and as well, for example, the events which are sent by Commerce Cloud. And here are then all the events which are coming from that application. And this is really the live view on what the application is providing. If I modified this, the list of events which should come from, in this case, SAP Commerce Cloud, then it will be reflected here within a minute as well. So it's really the live view on an application. And then afterwards, I create an instance of this. And then I can make use of, I can react to the events, or I can as well trigger serverless functions with that. If in this, so in this namespace, what I did is I went actually through our Getting Started tutorials, which will be available very soon on the tutorial navigator on developers.sap.com. So what I deployed is I deployed an MS SQL database, then a Go-based application, which is talking to the database, and as well a UI5 application. So this is, so I easily deployed the microservices here inside Keema via the CLI tool actually, so that I can then afterwards create API rules which expose those containers, so those applications here into or to the outside world. So if I go now to this application here, I can click on it, or this is the one. Let me refresh it that it's really live. So it's an easy application which is just fetching order information with a simple description and the creation time. So, for example, you can easily think about just creating a track record of all orders which are created from within an online store, for example, and then make it available via UI5 application. So, for example, that sales representatives also can look it up online or on their mobile phone, as this is of course responsive. And you can like easily then, of course, as I said, secure the API and therefore as well secure the application. So now just one last piece before I run out of time. So let me just get my terminal and just show you that this is really live. So I simply call the API and just add one order here that you can see that this is really working, and this is nothing which is just a picture or anything. So you can see here I simply added an order like order number. And of course, the next step would be, so these are then the next steps of the tutorials as well, to deploy the mocked application. And in the end as well, then create or trigger an event from those mocks to then react, like to add the order information, which is in theory then coming from the Commerce Cloud system, or in this case from the mocked application. And those are added then here to the list. So these would be then the next steps that you can, of course, explore on your own as soon as we are live with our tutorials. Last but not least, one piece of information. So if you explore Keema, if you have feedback, we are highly interested in that feedback. So it would be great if you could then like share your thoughts, like create a blog in the SAP community. Ask, of course, any questions in the community. You can leave a comment here to any of those blogs. So we are monitoring it. We have a team of like on our own on the tech evangelists, which help like getting started with Keema. We've got our development teams, which are reachable, like which look as well after the community and as well on the Keema open source Slack channel. So we are highly interested in getting in touch with you, or as well getting any feature requests, for example, via the standard channels which SAP provides. Or of course, you can as well engage directly with, like in the Keema open source project. As I said, it's fully available on GitHub. So in the last 2 minutes, let me just quickly summarize on how you can make use of Keema, so where you can get Keema, and then as well some follow-up links, which you will see on the Inside Track Barcelona webpage soon. So I will send this list over, and then we will make it available. So therefore, yeah, let's just get into it. The commercial model we're like the Keema runtime is available is the consumption-based model of Cloud Platform. So this means like the target group there's really customers and OEM partners. So if you have already, or if your company already has a CPEA-based account, you can again create a new sub account and then deploy Keema inside an Azure-based sub account. For partners, so Partner Edge partners, there's a test demo development license available. Last but not least, the Keema runtime is now as well part of SAP Cloud Platform trial. So this was made available exactly 1 week ago. So it's the usual rules of the trial. So it's for free, it's for 30 to 90 days. It's really to explore and as well to explore the extension case. So the possibility to connect your application, like you've seen, like with the mock. This will come very soon. So this is not yet available. So you can try out Keema runtime already to deploy your services, to create serverless functions. The app connectivity will come as a next step. All right, last but not least, again, this will be shared via the Inside Track homepage. Some more links and the help portal, Discovery Center, mission, and so on. And I can highly recommend this webinar where a German customer, together with the implementation partner, talk about how they use the Keema runtime. Actually, they use Keema open source in combination with Commerce Cloud and how they extend their Commerce Cloud shop. Okay. So with that, I would like to close. And if we still have a couple of minutes, we can see if there's a question in the chat.
Thanks, Marco. Let me check, but so far there were no questions during your presentation. If anybody wants to ask a question, please use the chat, the live chat on the YouTube channel. We are now broadcasting. We have one work or no? We are in time.
You are lucky, Marco. No question.
Well, if there's any question afterwards, here are my contact details. You can reach out to me via Twitter or directly via email if you have like a question, if you have comments. But of course, well, it's highly welcome if you use the SAP community tools and whatever possibilities you have in there.